New England Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel had a lot to say on Monday morning at the NFL meetings. Did he provide enough insight to decipher the team's plans for the upcoming NFL draft? Stick around. You're about to be locked in to Mock Draft Monday on the Locked On Patriots podcast.
You are Locked On Patriots, your daily New England Patriots podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello to all of you Foxborough faithful. Thank you once again for making Locked On Patriots a daily part of your New England Patriots coverage. I'm your host, Mike Debate, and I cover your New England Patriots for the Locked On Podcast Network. Reach out to me. Let me know what's on your mind on X at MDABATENFL. While you're out there showing some love to Locked On Patriots, social media style that is, follow our X account at LO_Patriots. And you can catch me where the skies are blue over on Blue Sky at MDABATENFL.bsky.social. Patriots fans, they say March comes in like a lion and goes out like a lamb. But trust me on this one, there is nothing passive about the way the New England Patriots have approached this past month. They put in the hard work. They paid the high price to bring in some exciting new faces for 2025 and beyond. Also, made some tough decisions, bid farewell to some beloved members of this organization. And in just a little over 3 weeks' time, they will welcome their 2025 NFL draft class. Now, at the center of all of this new era here in New England, is new head coach Mike Vrabel, who met with the media on Monday morning at the NFL meetings in Florida. And they discussed a range of topics from the Patriots' new free agent additions to the health of defensive tackle Christian Barmore and the team's early thoughts on the 2025 NFL draft. And we're going to discuss the highlights of what Vrabel had to say, and we're going to do it in conjunction with, of course, celebrating Mock Draft Monday right here on Locked On Patriots. We've got 3 intriguing drafts chosen because of the potential fit and the quality of the players included. And here today to make it all possible, as he always does each and every week, is the newly dubbed monarch of Mock Draft Monday. He's the Green King of Sting, the Count of Murphy Fisto himself, the legendary Thomas Murphy. Thank you for coming to me in friendship today, Don Murph.
Happy to be here, Michael, man. And unlike a lot of people, or the song says, I like Mondays.
Yeah. Exactly. There's no sullen moods here on Monday on Locked On Patriots. We're motivated. We're ready to go. Murph, let's dive right into it.
Yeah.
Mike Vrabel was candidly talkative at Monday morning's meet with the media at the NFL meetings in Florida, covered a number of intriguing topics, including the offensive line. And I think you might be interested in what Mike had to say when it comes to the Patriots offensive line. We're going to delve into that a little bit. So stick around, folks. You're not going to want to miss that. But let's start with the defense, because despite the addition of Milton Williams to this front seven, despite the addition of linebackers such as Jack Gibbons and Rob Spillane, Carlton Davis III coming in and bolstering that secondary, probably the biggest story, I think, on everyone's mind when it comes to the New England Patriots defense is the health of defensive tackle Christian Barmore. Christian is beloved in this area. He's truly one of the best defenders the Patriots have on this roster. And because of the scary nature of the health issues he's had recently, Murph, a lot of people are wondering what's going to be his status for 2025. Well, Mike Vrabel actually had a bit of good news for the New England Patriots and their fans, and most of all, for Christian Barmore himself. Christian was limited to only 4 games last year due to blood clots, and a lot of people were wondering, could this be the end of Christian Barmore on a football field? Mike lent some additional content to Barmore's situation in saying, quote, "By all accounts, I think he's going to participate in the voluntary offseason program. He popped in the other day to see the doctors. When he walked into the training room, all the trainers and just his energy, his presence, I know that he's feeling better." And of course, that offseason program is set to kick off next week on April 7th, and the team will evaluate, or I should say reevaluate, Barmore's health at that time. Murph, obviously, this is going to be an undertaking for the New England Patriots, for Christian Barmore, for Mike Vrabel as the head coach. He understands that the health of his players is the most serious thing that he has to protect. He did say we're going to do right by him, whatever is necessary. So for anyone thinking that on-field progress is going to be more important to Mike Vrabel and this staff. He set the record straight right away. But in my opinion, this is some of the most encouraging information we've received on Christian since last year. Everyone wants him to be healthy and get back out there on the field. But what Christian Barmore can do for this defense is truly remarkable. We've talked about his ability to take on the double team and free up pass rushers to get after the passer. You put someone like Milton Williams now in this lineup who can be the everyday guy if Christian wants to come back and play more of a situational role, maybe a reverse role, maybe sort of like what a Milton Williams did for the Philadelphia Eagles last year. That could be a possibility. But it also makes you wonder about what the Patriots might do in the upcoming 2025 NFL draft. Does it take them out of the running for drafting a front seven game wrecker in the early stages of this draft? Well, I would say yes, with one caveat, and that is if the name that is available at number 4 is Abdul Carter.
Right.
And bottom line, Murph, we talked about generational talent before. If he's sitting there, you almost have to do this and get this done. Well, guess what? That's exactly what our friend and valued everydayer Kurt Finn did in his first submission to the pod. And he made that submission, folks, via Facebook Messenger. Let that be a lesson to the lot of you. So many options to get your great work in. We monitor each and every one of them.
He does.
If you have a pipeline into Locked On Patriots, don't be afraid to use it.
That's
where we got this one from.
Yeah.
The tip of the cap, Kurt, and thank you for submitting this draft today. Absolutely.
Brilliant.
And speaking of brilliant work, let's take a look at what Kurt had to do. And for the benefit of those of you listening to this podcast, not viewing it, at number 4, Abdul Carter, edge rusher out of Penn State. Murph, we're going to get into the remainder of Kurt's draft here in just a moment, but based on what we heard from Mike Vrabel on Monday regarding Christian Barmore, based on your knowledge of Abdul Carter and just how effective this guy is going to be right off the bat when it comes to assimilating into an NFL defense, if Barmore is going to be healthy enough to see the field this year, with Milton Williams, with Keon White, adding Abdul Carter into this mix, do you believe this puts the Patriots in position to field an elite front seven day one, the moment all of these guys get a chance to share the field?
Yeah, man, let's build a bully. That's what our manager is doing, man. Building a bully. Oh my God. If Barmore is back and healthy, this could be scary good. This could vault this Patriots defense into the stratosphere and keep it there in orbit above the NFL for a very, very long time. Now, I am not the biggest fan of Abdul Carter. I am not denouncing or trying to take away from his prowess. My questions with him have always been the switch of positions and whether or not that can continue at the NFL level. I believe, could he be a will side linebacker? At the next level, those quick, rangy sideline to sideline linebackers are what Vrabel likes. Or is he gonna, keep his hand down there in the dirt or stand up down there at the end and pin his ears back and rush the passer? I'm not really sure, but I love it. I really do. There's no denying the talent. There's no denying that this man is worthy of the number 4 pick in the NFL draft. And there aren't many guys this year that I feel are worthy of the 4th pick in the NFL draft. I really don't. The talent's there, but how many guys are really elite? Okay, even that status, that top 5, that top 10 status. It's more of who's the best fit for us here. That's the way I believe that this draft is going to go. But whoever lands Abdul Carter is going to hit a home run, and I think this is a home run pick at 4. I really like it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you talk about now 2 guys in potentially Barmore and Milton Williams that play similar styles.
Right.
These guys can absorb the double team.
Yep.
They can make it a lot easier for edge rushers to get to the quarterback. We saw that a couple of years ago with Matthew Judon and even Joshua Uche. So if you want to take 2 elite style pass rushers and make sure that they're in your lineup at all times and they can help get after the quarterback, you add someone like an Abdul Carter and maybe a Keon White takes that step up to be
Yep.
a serviceable player in that regard to someone who is one of the league's better players in that
Right.
regard. Yeah, I mean, you're looking at a rotation that doesn't quit, because
No.
if Milton Williams has to come
That-
off the field, Barmore can come in situational packages and he can provide some real pop there. Then you're looking at, and then of course, you're looking at Williams being the everyday guy. So if that be the case, and the Patriots do want to make sure they're consistently putting pressure on the quarterback without a break,
Right.
you feel the front seven like that. I mean, yeah, I do believe you're looking at an elite crew. So if they can make this happen and Carter does slip, I do this every day of the week and twice on Sunday. Again,
Okay.
The only problem is realism. Is he going to slip? Everything that seems to be coming out of Cleveland right now says that they would love to pair this guy with Myles Garrett. Is
Right.
that going to happen? That may take this off the board when it comes to realism, but at the same time, this has the potential of being generational type talent. You don't leave it on the board if it's there at 4.
No, you really don't. There are drawbacks to everybody in this draft. I mean, I don't really love the man's play strength. He needs to develop a better pass rush strategy. He's been getting by on speed and quickness, but no, he's like I said, he's worthy of the number 4 pick. This could be devastating to the AFC East if this kid comes in here, becomes part of the this 3-4 system that Vrabel likes to run. It's going to be so deep with some of the guys that we've already mentioned that it will just be a nonstop onslaught against opposing quarterbacks.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I love
and
it.
again, the way that this draft matches up with what Mike Vrabel had to say Monday morning, all of a sudden looks pretty good for one Kurt Finn. So Kurt,
Yep.
Excellent job right off the bat, but Kurt was far from being done. Murph.
No.
At number 38, he brings in Ariantari Ursary out of Minnesota. We've talked about him several times as being a little bit of a project at the position, but once he can hone into his skills, this kid could be an everyday starter for any team that selects him, let alone the New England Patriots. My budding draft crush at number 69, Jaden Higgins, wide receiver out of Iowa State. Love this kid's contested catch ability, but I also think he's got a little bit more spring in his step than previous contested catch weapons that the Patriots have drafted. I think Higgins could assimilate very nice into this offense. Another guy that I really love watching is Gunnar Helm, the tight end out of Texas. I am unashamed to say that one of the big reasons why I would love to see Gunnar Helm here in New England is I can bring back the Spaceballs gift file. Who made that man a gunner? I mean, come on, folks. It was enjoyable.
I had to use it when I saw it.
Yep. You did. You have full rights to use that because you are my co-pilot here on Locked On Patriots on Mock Draft Monday. I'm keeping my sharp eye on Gunnar Helm. And number 106, running back out of Oklahoma State, Ollie Gordon II. And number 144, guard out of Cincinnati, Luke Kendra, coming in to help shore up the interior of that offensive line. And number 217, defensive tackle out of Georgia, Tyrion Ingram. Had a chance to talk to our good friend Andrew Carraway offline. Of course, he loves his Georgia Bulldogs for obvious reasons. Had some pretty good things to say about this kid as a potential depth piece on the defensive front seven. Elijah Hussey, cornerback out of North Carolina at number 220. And then, of course, Kurt wraps it all up with a position that could be intriguing for the New England Patriots heading into 2025. Ben Sauls, the kicker out of Pittsburgh, at number 238. So, Murph, when you look at this haul overall and you look at what the Patriots' needs are, taking under account a little bit of what Mike Vrabel had to say on Monday, what are your thoughts on the rest of this haul? Who stands out to you as the player that could help or players that could help the Patriots the most?
I love Jaden Higgins. You guys all know that I love Jaden Higgins. I don't think he's going to end up being there at number 69 at the Gronk pick. Ursary, again, I think that's somebody that you probably have to trade back up from 38 to end up getting. I am not a fan of Ollie Gordon. I'm sorry. I'm just not. He's
I can understand.
He's got happy feet. That's the best thing I could say. If the hole's not there, he sits there and he loses all momentum. He's got the body. Hit the man in front of you. All right, and that's it. Luke Kendra is a fantastic prospect. I really like him at 144, and kudos for going kicker Ben Sauls there at 238. Man, I really like that. But Elijah Hussey he's a good rotational piece that could grow into something more. I
Mhm.
think he's hit on every need that we have here. I'm not really sure about it. Gunnar Helm, I really like, but Higgins, I love. Ursery, I love. Carter, we've gone about talking about. Not far. You can't talk too long about Abdul Carter, but no, this is a fine draft. There's a couple of holes that I'm not sure that I like. Of course, Ingram. I love guys from Georgia. This is a solid draft. It really
Mhm.
is. There's a couple of hiccups only about you know, whether or not these guys are going to be there at those picks. I really don't think Ursery is going to be there. What are you going to give up to move back up into the first round to grab him?
Such a good point when it comes to Ursery, because a lot of the mock draft simulators that are out there right now have Ursery being around when the
Yeah.
Patriots are on the clock at number 38 in the second
And
round.
you can't fault somebody for taking them.
Oh, absolutely. You're playing the board
We
as it
say that you're
lies.
playing the board as it lies. Go right ahead,
Yeah,
man. That's brilliant.
absolutely. I mean, you're taking best
Yeah,
player available and you're filling a huge need. That's where the grades come from, folks. If anyone's
right.
wondering why Murph and I may grade some of these drafts so highly, it's not so much based on realism. It's based on the way that these guys are filling
That's
you
it.
holes. It is fantasy land when it comes to
Yeah,
Mock Draft Monday, but it also gives us an opportunity to showcase players here on Locked On Patriots that we believe could be good fits with the New England Patriots. And Ursery is someone that would clearly fill a need here on this roster, but are the Patriots willing to invest solid draft capital up front and then take some of the capital they have and move back up into the first round? That's where the chess match really comes in, Murph.
Yep.
That's where you start strategically moving players around the board to build your team. And I think Kurt's done a phenomenal job of doing that here. I agree with you on Gordon. I'm not necessarily sold on his fit within this offense. So, in my opinion, that takes it a couple of notches down. I'm a little higher on Helm than you are, not because of the gift file, folks. I
right.
just love the way this kid runs routes. He reminds me of a young Hunter Henry in that regard. I think he can be groomed into someone
Okay.
that could end up being the heir apparent here. That's why I'm pretty high on Gunner. And look, Ben Sauls, I think, is a
Yeah.
good investment.
Really.
If you're taking him at this stage in the draft, I think it's
Yeah.
good draft capital to invest. Look, I'm not saying that John Parker Romo is a poor kicker. Actually, to the opposite, I think
Yeah.
he's going to turn a lot more heads than people expect him to in training camp. This is a kid that connected on 11 of his 12 field goals last year, 7 of 8 of his extra points when it came to Minnesota. The kid can kick, and I think he's
Yep.
going to get a chance to show that. The question is he your long-term solution? If you don't feel that way, Ben Sauls could be someone that could come in here and fill that need. So, bottom line, Murph, we've arrived at grade time. Kurt Finn, a first-time submitter. He gets an A++ from me in terms of how he submitted it. I love that he used
Yep.
Facebook Messenger to get to us. That was a very astute and very good way to get your work seen. But
That's
how would
it.
you grade his draft, Don Murph?
This is a B- draft. He could have done a little bit more to shore up the offensive line earlier. I thought it was a fantastic grab there at 69 with Jaden Higgins. It's just it's not going to happen. I'm not as huge on Gunnar Helm as my co-host is. Ollie Gordon is a miss for me. Especially at 106. If you'd gotten him at 144 or between 140 and 200, I'm happy. I need a safety in this draft. You kind of ignored that, and if you're going Abdul Carter there at 4, building this bully, I think Tyrone Ingram is a bit, I don't want to say redundant. But what else? No, I'm not even going to do that, because what else are you going to do at 217?
So, Kurt, what can I say? A tip of the cap. Great way to get us started here on Locked On Patriots. You've given us a lot to talk about, some positive, some negative. That's what it's all about here on Mock Draft Monday on the Locked On Patriots podcast. But, Murph, as we alluded to, the Patriots do have a number of holes still to fill on this team. And one that was considered one of the Patriots' greatest voids was filled last week via free agency. Stephon Diggs is a New England Patriot, and we love saying it over and over again, folks. But does that take the New England Patriots out of the running to upgrade this position for the long haul? Well, not according to our second submitter here on Locked On Patriots. We're going to take a look into what the Patriots might do to keep their foot on the accelerator and beef up the offensive talent on this team when Mock Draft Monday continues right here with Mike and Murph on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Locked On listeners, March Madness is here, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's 200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories and even who's cutting down the nets. I've got my eye on a few underdogs this year, and FanDuel makes it easy to back them with spreads, totals, and game props. And the FanDuel app is so simple to use. When I win, I get paid instantly with no waiting around. So visit FanDuel.com and get in on the college hoops action all tournament long. FanDuel.com. Patriots fans, thank you once again for joining us here today on Mock Draft Monday. It is the first day of the NFL meetings. Here today on Locked On Patriots, we're kind of melding them all into one amalgam of Patriots coverage. And the only man that can help me do that is the only man with the monster insight, the monster wisdom and counsel, the wit and the grit that we need here on Locked On Patriots each and every Monday, my good friend Thomas Murphy. Murph, it's Mock Draft Monday, it's NFL Meetings Monday, and those two things coinciding often lead to a lot of interesting discussion.
There you go.
We mentioned in the previous segment that Mike Vrabel had a lot to talk about on Monday morning. One of the positions that he seems intent on upgrading when it comes to April's draft is the running back position. And you've been a proponent of this since we started grading drafts here on Locked On Patriots. Ramondre often looks fantastic, but the problem with Ramondre was ball security last year. And Mike acknowledged that, saying he doesn't believe all of that should be put on Ramondre Stevenson's shoulders, but also saying the praises of one Antonio Gibson, saying that he believed that Antonio is going to be a solid complement to Ramondre heading into this season. But Mike, as you know, is very predicated on a strong running game. He loves guys that are going to be able to coach it. And Josh McDaniels is certainly no stranger to having strong runners help to pace his offense when you're trying to teach your new young quarterback everything they need to know about this game. So in that regard, Murph, Patriots are going to be looking to the draft to add talent at running back. They also may be looking to the draft to add that wide receiver of the future. We also have a second submission here on Mock Draft Monday that addresses both of those pretty high up in this draft. We'll waste no time in bringing you the work of Roy Johnson in his second submission here on Locked On Patriots. Roy submitted via the Locked On Patriots email box, and we always appreciate all of you submitters out there that use that. And obviously, he's got the Patriots working the trade board a little bit here. Pat's moving down from number 4 to number 15 overall. And at that position, they've taken Texas wide receiver Matthew Golden with that spot. And number 38, Murph, a lot of what we talked about earlier comes into play here. Ariante Ursary comes off the board at number 38. But at number 46, this trade allows the New England Patriots to take another Ohio State running back, Travion Henderson. Now, this one intrigues me a little bit because we're going to get into the entirety of Roy's haul in just a minute, but I'm specifically wondering what your thoughts are on number 15 and number 46. Obviously, the Patriots have top-of-the-chart talent at both positions right now. Stephon Diggs as a wide receiver, Ramondre Stevenson as a running back. Do you think that these pieces here, Golden as a receiver and Henderson as a running back, are the proper picks here in order to move position groups forward for 2025 and possibly beyond?
I love the Matthew Golden pick. I really do. I like it. He's moving up boards everywhere, and I think that he would be a fantastic fit in here on the other side. This offense needs weapons, and this kid's a weapon. So yeah, I like it. I like the trade down. We'll get into the entire haul. Ursary we've talked about. Henderson scares the hell out of me. He really does. This kid missed some serious time in 22 and 23 as being a lead back. He can get really fancy in the backfield. He doesn't like to get up into the muck. Okay, let's put it that way, man. He likes to jump outside. He likes to get the ball outside. Now, with the system that they're going to run here with Josh McDaniels, this Brady McDaniels system that we had, that could work out really well. But his health really bugs me. And I don't like the fact that when you're asked to go up inside, that you're already looking to go out. His route tree is stunted. He can. What this kid can do is in space can get really scary. And what he's able to do in the passing game when he splits out is something that I really like. But I'm not sure I'm making this gamble at that pick.
Yeah, very good point. And I'm glad that you mentioned the style of Josh McDaniels. The running backs that typically come through this system tend to be a little bit more straightforward instead of guys that automatically break through the outside. That is a knock on Henderson. But if the proper coaching staff grabs this kid with the talent that he possesses, he could end up paying huge dividends down the line. Maybe the Patriots say, you know what? We've got a Stevenson right now. We've got a Gibson. Maybe it's worth it for us to take a shot at this kid. We're looking at the remainder of Roy's haul here. Here's where I think it comes out. If you get Ursery and you're able to notch him for whatever reason, trading back into the first round, or if he does slip to 38 through some miracle and picking him up here, if you pair him with NC State offensive tackle Anthony Bell at number 77, that's where I think this pick and that's where this draft could possibly redeem itself here.
Belton is just a massive human being, 6'6", 350 pounds. 330. He'll be 350 at the time of the draft. Man, he's just an enormous man. He's a nasty finisher. I love. He's sneaky fast for somebody who's 6'6" and 350 pounds, and I love his punch. I love how heavy his hands are. He generates power from the lower half like few other guys in this draft. If you're going to take a swing at 77, you could do a heck of a lot worse than Anthony Belton. I love it. This is a solid A draft.
Excellent. I know Roy is definitely excited hearing that. And we haven't even talked about it. Number 69, safety out of Oklahoma, Billy Bowman comes in, helps to shore up that secondary. So, I'm going to give this a B+ with an A- rising. I really like what Roy did here. And again, Matthew Golden coming in, Ursery and Belton to me are the picks that really put this one over the top. Roy is continuously submitting great mock drafts. He puts a lot of work into these, and I'm very happy that we're able to showcase his work for the second time here on Locked On Patriots, and hopefully it will not be the last before the draft takes place later in April. But, Murph, we're actually going to delve into the running back position a little bit more in this last submission that was put to us here on Locked On Patriots. But something tells me that's not going to be your favorite part of this draft, because this draft goes the full gamut. Kelvin Banks at number 4. You've been a proponent of this. I'm going to give you an opportunity to defend it, because what Mike Vrabel had to say on Monday may make a lot of the Will Campbell fans out there happy. Murph still stands by that Banks is the pick, and I'm going to give him an opportunity to hit the bully pulpit in just a moment and explain to us why this next submission by Locked On Patriots Every Day or Casey Park may be exactly what the Patriots need. All that and more when this Mock Draft Monday episode of Locked On Patriots wraps up right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Patriots fans, thank you once again for joining us here today on Locked On Patriots. It is not only the kickoff of NFL meetings in which Mike Vrabel met with the media on Monday morning, it is also Mock Draft Monday. And here today to help me break it all down is the monarch of Mock Draft Monday, but also the only man with the wisdom, the counsel, the wit, and the grit necessary to help take that knowledge of Mock Draft Monday and incorporate it into what Mike Vrabel had to say to the media contingent present in Florida for the NFL meetings on Monday morning, my good buddy Thomas Murphy. Murph, in the previous segment, we've outlined, I think, 2 very good, very thoughtful, very lucid submissions here on Locked On Patriots, but I saved this one for last because I have a funny feeling it's going to put the biggest smile on your face. You've been a proponent all season long that offensive tackle is where the Patriots should be focusing their energy,
Bingo.
And you've been a very big proponent, the only consistent one here, in my opinion, in Patriots media that believes that Texas offensive lineman Kelvin Banks Jr. is the pick when it comes to what the Patriots need most on that offensive line, even at the expense of potentially drafting LSU's Will Campbell, who, I'm not going to mince words here, Murph, is graded higher on most national draft boards than Kelvin Banks.
Go ahead.
Now, you've helped to convert me over to the Church of Banks here in thinking that this kid would be a solid addition, that the Patriots could use high-level draft capital to draft him, and that they wouldn't be wasting that talent, that this kid comes in with a plug-and-play ability to be the left tackle the Patriots need to provide adequate protection for Drake May. Murph, we've also said the same thing about Will Campbell, and you've gone on record to say that if Campbell is the pick, you're not going to be smashing televisions at Casa del Murphy in late April when these selections are made. Well, Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel seems to believe that as well. He was asked point blank on Monday morning about the Patriots' thoughts on Campbell and how they view him heading into this draft. Specifically, he was asked the question, do you view him as a left tackle? Well, Mike didn't mince any words either, and he said very matter-of-factly, I think you have to. I don't understand how you can watch him play in the SEC, which is the best conference in college football, against guys that are going to get drafted at that position. So I don't think you have to project it. You can just actually watch it and say, there's the snaps at left tackle, evaluate it, and see what you think. That's a pretty good ringing endorsement from a guy that knows a thing or two about line play, Murph. Now, in this regard, that would seemingly put the Patriots in position to take Will Campbell at number 4. But I know you, and I know you still want Banks, and you still believe Banks to be the superior take here. Well, our good friend Casey Park, longtime everydayer here on Locked On Patriots, but first-time draft submitter, did just that. With Will Campbell remaining on the board, Casey took Kelvin Banks at number 4 overall. Murph, before we get into the remainder of Casey's draft here, I know that you, the defense, has argued tirelessly about why you'd go with Banks in this situation. To help bolster what Casey has done here in our final mock draft submission, taking under account what Mike Vrabel had to say about Campbell, why do you still believe Banks is the choice here?
86 overall PFF grade, 79.9 true pass set grade.
It's a good case.
Okay. Campbell, 74.3 and 71.7. That's not huge, but it's big enough. All right. Now, if you want somebody else's opinion, A.Q. Shipley, all right, professional center with Justin Poe and a few other former offensive linemen that are quite decorated, have Super Bowl rings up and down, and he agrees with me. A.Q. Shipley agrees with me. There's just a higher ceiling with Banks, and there's a higher floor with Banks. He is plug and play. There is no question where he's going to play. I have no qualms whatsoever that that this kid is a left tackle. That both of these guys are left tackles. They've done it. They've shown it. Banks is just better, guys. He's just better. Go watch the tape. All right. He doesn't get beat inside. He doesn't have to overextend to make sure that he's not getting beat. What he's able to do in with his legs at his size is just massive. It's just not seen that often. Now, of course, I'm not comparing him to guys who went in last year's draft, but he is a plug-and-play guy, somebody that's going to be there for 5 to 10 years. And yes, I think both of them are going to end up being fantastic tackles at the next level. I just think Banks is just better. I don't even think it. You know, I've seen them both play. I've seen every snap that these guys have taken over the last 2 years. Banks is the pick. He's the better guy.
I think you've made an interesting case. I think our everydayers and all of our listeners out there will give that to you at this point, and I think they should. The knock on Banks right now coming in is that he didn't necessarily interview all that well during the combine process. And a lot of people have questions about his dial-in ability, his dedication to the position and what will need to be done, especially here in New England, where left tackle is of the utmost importance.
Right.
Will Campbell comes in testing very highly. He comes in as someone that arguably maybe
Yep.
playing with a chip on his shoulder because so many people are making a big deal about his arm length, his wingspan length.
Not saying he doesn't get the job done. He just doesn't get it done as well. All right. And if there's knocks on Banks's dial-in ability, well, that's what coaches are for. We had a left tackle here for decades that, for better part of 5 or 6 years that had his great seasons and had his not so great seasons because he wasn't dialed in. He wasn't totally on board. Well, when he had the best offensive line coach in the history of offensive line coaching, and I'm not talking about myself, I'm talking about
he's second on that list, by the way.
I'm talking about Dante Scarnecchia.
Yep.
He raised that level. Okay, that's what a coaching staff's job is to do. Okay, dial this kid in, get him set for every single week. Let him know that he is the man. That's coaching. Okay, that you can coach that out of somebody or into somebody. I'm completely on board with that. And some more people in town are starting to include Banks in the talk in the top 5 or in the top 10, maybe with a trade back or maybe even at 4. I'm saying take Banks at 4 if you don't have a trade down that's going to lose you one of these two guys. But you have to come away with one of these two guys. There are only 4 guys in this draft that are starting caliber left tackles their first year in the league, and these are the 2 best ones that you have to come away with one of these 2.
The only way I don't make it is if there's an Abdul Carter or a Travis Hunter sitting there at number 4.
I've said it. Yeah.
Once again, generational talent. You
Right.
have to do that, and then you try to pick
Then
up
you
the
try to
pieces
move
as they
back
may.
up and you get the 3rd or 4th offensive tackle in this draft. Maybe you throw in a second round from next year and you vault yourself back up into the top 15, and more people think about Banks the way some of you do, and he's still sitting there at 15. I've seen that in plenty of mock drafts. I just think Banks is the best guy. He handles the bull rush much better. I've watched him change directions in ways that a man at this size should not be able to do.
Obviously, that wasn't the only pick that Casey made here. We've got Luther Burden at number 38. At number 69, Quinshon
Now we're
Judkins.
talking. Now we're talking
This, to
Ohio
me,
State running
is
backs that I like. Yep, here we go.
This is a real solid 1-2 combination. If the Patriots can make this happen, that'd be huge. Again, I just don't think Burden's going to be there at number 38. I think he's long off the board at this point. I think Judkins is going to be off the board at number 69 as well.
But Quinshon Judkins is somebody that I would love to see in a Patriots uniform in September or whenever camps open up. That this kid does it all. He really does. What he's able to do with the ball, his sight, the way he hits a hole, he would be perfect in this system. And give me all of that. And Omar Norman Lott. You want to talk about a defensive lineman, people? Here we go. We're talking about guys that would fit into this system as a complementary piece. I'm trying to look at what's on the line now that's going to complement Norman Lott. Wow. Yep. No relation to Ronnie, but he's got that last name, and I love that pick.
Yeah, what a great addition here. And again, folks, it comes down to Murph and I identifying players in these drafts that could really help the New England Patriots. Right. Patriots have a stacked defensive line. That line may be even more stacked if they bring in someone like an Abdul Carter. But if they don't, you do need defensive linemen that can come in and be able to bolster this team. Obviously, different positions, but Norman Lott is someone that could come in at a school that is very well versed at producing NFL-ready talent on the defensive side of the ball. I love this pick. To me, this was one of the better, more wise, and I think more realistic picks for the Patriots that I saw in Casey's submission. To round it all out at number 144, Zy Alexander out of LSU, the cornerback coming in, helping to shore up that defensive backfield. You want some edge rush talent, you've got it here in Tyler Batty. Linebacking help, the Patriots have a pretty stacked linebacking core, but you can never have too much firepower, as our good friend Billy Rosewood of Beverly Hills Cop fame would say. Iowa's Jay Higgins at number 220. And bringing up the rear, number 238, Luke Lachey, the tight end coming in.
Yeah.
Claire has some good things to say about Luke Lachey.
Yeah.
We're going to get Claire's insight and her wisdom and counsel on the tight end prospects in this draft shortly, folks. So keep a sharp eye out for that. I know you all love some tight ended.
Right.
Claire's wisdom and counsel, second to none in that department. But Murph, it's grading time. Based on what you've seen from all of the submissions on Casey Park, how would you grade this first-time submission here on Locked On Patriots?
You brought me Kelvin Banks, and you brought me Quinshon Judkins. I love it. You know, the man's had 3 fumbles and 800 touches. 3. Okay, you want to talk about ball security? There it is.
Yeah, exactly.
All right? He runs behind his. I can't get over this. Is an A+ draft.
This is, I mean, in terms of talent, in terms of Patriots needs and NFL players that can come in, make an immediate impact. Yeah, I don't see how you don't grade this draft.
No, bravo, dude. Bravo.
I know the naysayers out there are going to say it's unrealistic, and you may have an argument. And again, we're not going to argue with that.
You may have to move up or down a little bit, but this is a doable draft. You can make this happen.
Yeah. You cannot fault these submitters for playing the draft board the way it's lying. If these guys are out there, you absolutely do not pass on them under any way, shape, or form, because these are all players that can come in and make an immediate impact on the New England Patriots offense, their defense, and their team culture as a whole. So once again, folks, I want to give a major tip of the cap to all of our submitters today, to Kurt, to Roy, and of course to Casey. Thank you for submitting your great work so we could feature it here on Locked On Patriots. Folks, there's still a few mock draft Mondays left in the cycle. Continue to get them in. Murph and I may even consider doing a mock draft Thursday or maybe a mock draft Friday. Who knows? Maybe Murph will submit his great work for me to critique, and maybe I'll submit a mock draft for Murph to grade. Maybe that'd be fun. We try to keep things even keel, but could things get a little salty between the two of us if he starts criticizing my work?
It's happened in the past.
And vice versa. Yeah, maybe pretty interesting to watch. So keep a sharp eye out for that. But what can I say, my friend? You're always there for the handoff. I want to thank you for all of your great work, all of your insight, your wisdom, your counsel, your wit, your grit, second to none. Before I let you go, bud, please let everyone know where they can reach out to you, interact with you, and what you got cooking in Murph's kitchen for the rest of the week.
You can come hang out with me on Zitter at TMurph207S. There's plenty of space over there. That's what the S is for, space. Or you can catch me where the skies are blue at TMurph207.
Bud, what can I say? Thank you so much, and we look forward to having you back, maybe even before the week is out, folks. Keep a sharp eye out because it's draft coverage. It is draft season, and we are going to go to the wall to bring you all the latest from Foxborough. In the meantime, I want to thank my good friend Thomas Murphy for his wisdom, his counsel, his wit, and his grit today. A special tip of the cap to Kurt, to Roy, and to Casey for your great submissions. But most of all of you Locked On Patriots everydayers out there, those of you who continue to make this podcast what it is each and every day. Also want to thank all of you occasional listeners and anyone joining us for the first time today. Hope you stick around and you see something you like, because the best is yet to come, including this week, several special guests lined up, including some national draft pundits you are not going to want to miss. So keep it right here on the Locked On Patriots podcast. In the meantime, on behalf of my good friend Thomas Murphy, I'm Mike Debate, reminding all of you to stay safe, to stay well, to be the change that you wish to see in the world. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you back here again tomorrow on Locked On Patriots.